Got it.
Now we are ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody else coming in.
Yep, Maria.
All right, Maria, come on in. Ready to, should I go?
Yes, we'll start with Pat.
Hi. Welcome, everybody. Hi, Pat. If you can hear me, I can't see you. Hi, Pat.
Can't see me.
No, not on my screen. I'm on an iPad, and let me.
Oh.
I don't think I can get a multiple view here. I just taught a class last night where I use this, and I know how that operates. But this Facebook thing is new to me. So, welcome aboard, everybody. Pat. And this is kind of a preface for everybody. You know, we face the elements, and it's not a cop out from an oil painter to say, hey, it affects us also. So, because I walked around and I saw how the rain was hitting, what it does to your oil. As you know, it liquefies and it runs some of the oils. It just leaves watermarks and water spots on your board. And of course, oil and water won't really mix. So here's the pluses. What size is that, Pat? 912?
Yes.
Oh, there you are. I see you.
Yes.
Hi.
912.
Yeah. Here's the pluses. Adding these people really made the scene. Okay, the ones at the bottom. I know. I'm trying to think of the direction you were facing was kind of north, I believe.
I'm
So
facing the
basket.
Newberry. I'm facing the Newberry.
Yeah, is that the Newberry back there? Yeah.
Yes.
You're real conscious of, and for anyone that I'm speaking to now, please feel free to interact and give me your thoughts also. From my perspective, you're very conscious of the cool and the warm greens. You created big masses of those colors. You put your warm green in the middle and then your yellow green, and then your cools are on the back and the sides. I like this idea. You've done a number of good things here. One of the biggest ways artists create depth is by overlapping. Putting something behind something else automatically creates the third dimension. So you have trees in the foreground, real gutsy. I like that. Instead of starting with just the sidewalk or the light post. So you create kind of a network by doing that, a kind of a grid system. So you started immediately, these trees grow from out of the picture plane, and then they overlap the sidewalk, they overlap the cooler trees, they overlap the Newberry. So that's the plus. And adding these people and the odd number, so you have odd number of 3 trees, odd number of 3 people. And it has that, your painting conveys the mood of the day, Pat, all right? The raininess, the umbrella and all that. So what do you want to do better? I think you should work, I think I would darken look at the top of the yellow where it meets the bluer spruce or cooler colors. I would darken the greens where they meet the yellows at the very top. Is that you, Lori, with the cursor?
Yep, that's me.
Yep. Wherever the top of let your eye run across the top of the line of the yellow. And where it meets these dark blue trees, I would increase the darkness. So you have the darkness at the bottom. I would put some more dark at the top to force that tree forward even more. I would also give more dimension to my yellow shape, even though it might have looked this way in reality. You've indicated by the light that the light post, the glass, that the light is from your left. So I would play up the fact of my yellow green. It would be lighter on my left and a little darker on my right. What else? I would vary the thickness of my 3 trees. You have them basically the same width. You have great motion in them. There's a nice sweeping motion coming into the picture, because being in a city, we got these true verticals and true horizontals. The pavement and the buildings are, perfect perpendiculars. But here you played off nicely nature, these amorphic shapes, nature, trees, against buildings and sidewalks. So you have man-made, then you have nature, then you have man-made again at the bottom with the sidewalk. So I would put some shadows under the people, even if it's a rainy day, they could have soft shadows on the pavement. I would make one of the 3 trees thicker, at least in volume. What are your comments, Pat? What are your thoughts?
Well, my thought was I did recognize that everything was even. The tree, the branch, the trunks of the trees were all even. And I agree with you. I need to fix that. What I did was I took off that bird-looking figure on the left.
What the heck? Yeah, what is that? A raincoat or a nun, or what is it?
It's a raincoat. on a person, but it
Okay.
looks like a bird.
Or Darth Vader's relative.
I know, right? So what I did was I took my thumb and I blocked it out, and I didn't think
Yeah.
I needed it. What do you think?
I'm putting my finger over it right now.
Yeah.
You took it out completely, right?
Yes.
All right, I can live with that. Because then you have this nice little cluster right in the middle, the post, the tree, and and that little girl makes the scene, okay? And I don't
Okay.
know, you're probably, I don't know if you consciously did this, you're bringing down the Newberry color into her raincoat
Yes.
or dress.
Yes.
Was that a conscious deal? Okay.
Yes.
Um, you're good. Yeah, leave it with 2. I'm good with that. But again,
Yeah.
the
I don't.
biggest pluses are your starting objects like the post at the foreground. The post, the light post, and the trees come right into the picture. That creates an immediacy, and it shows that you crop something. So, and you show just the right amount of architecture without. That was one of my problems. How much do I delineate the background architecture? So that's good. And your post is about a third of the way in. Your light post, that's cool.
Yeah.
You're good to go. Just darken behind that yellow. Start with the dark behind the yellow at the top, just a little bit.
So right above the yellow of the trees, darken
Yeah.
that edge.
Yeah, look at the bottom. Look underneath the tree. So you got your darks down there because you're trying
Okay.
to set off the baskets on the post. So
Okay.
you made that dark. We'll bring some of that dark tightly against the yellow.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
I'm happy. You're welcome.
Oops, wrong way.
Wow, I didn't see that Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to move this. I got this on the wrong
No
spot. Okay,
problem.
hang on a
Hey,
second. Pat. Here we go.
Lori, this thing seems like about 3 weeks ago that we did this.
I know.
Real. Deborah, are you there?
Oh, Deborah's not, is that Deb Page?
This is Deborah.
Yeah, okay, let's move on to the next person. I'll see if I can get her to,
Well, let's come back. Yeah, later.
Yeah.
Howard.
so here's
you're here.
Howard.
Howard. It's a tiny little picture. Yeah, I sense a little Chagall in here. I don't know, a little Mark Chagall. Howard, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
I saw you painting this. I saw you painting it.
Yeah.
And you said it was gouache, watercolor. You alerted me to. Let me read you a little thing here. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I wasn't aware of gouache and acrylic mixed together. First I've heard of that. You've capitalized on, if there was ever a liquid feeling, a rainy day liquid feeling, you've got it here. Why did you make the light post blue? I'm not against it. Why did you do that?
I just did.
Because you felt like it.
Largely, yes. I'm always looking for colors within colors. It's something that's black actually has a bit of brown, blue, red. I especially do that with tree trunks. I'm always trying to get different colors in there.
Okay.
I think it gives a lot of liveliness to it. It's something I do.
Oh yeah, it's the most pure color, whether it's cobalt or whatever it is. It's the most intense color you have in the whole thing. The thing you have going here, and here's how I would reconcile it. You have 1, 2, 3 verticals. You have the tree on the left, the post, and then you got the fountain. You have 3 verticals, and they're all isolated. They're all in their own little world. What I would do, like I was mentioning to Pat, I would see the tree on the left, the foliage on the tree on the left, Howard.
Yes.
It ends with a perfect vertical mimicking the post. It ends with a vertical line, the dark greens. I would extend that to the right. Maybe it was there that one time and the rain washed it away, but to overlap, I would bring some of that green from the tree, the right edge of it, let it meander east and west behind the post, light post, and that would it would put those two together. It would unite those two. The intensity of the post commands me to look at it first. So that's cool. But what happens to the fountain? Maybe that's your wish. Maybe you want me to look at that first. I think you should take a little more. I would flip this painting upside down. I like your water, by the way, that's flipping around there. I like the water, how it's spilling out. It looks 3-dimensional, actually.
Thank
I would flip this painting upside down and redraw the bowl of the fountain. It's heavy, bigger on the right side. That's the nitpicky stuff. But the other thing is, how about the tree where it ends? The trunk of the tree? What are your thoughts on that? Where it ends?
Need to do something with it. I was
I would just
thinking
put
of-
water on it and let it bleed into that wash below it,
Fine.
instead of ending it right there at the fence. The fence is handled beautifully, by the way. It's
Thank
just simple calligraphic strokes and just simple. You didn't bore me with every one, and they're all just kind of handmade and really nice. I'm putting my hand up here, Howard, on the right side of your painting. I'm putting my fingers up over the background of the very right side. And what I'm getting to is, you're right-handed, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and partly I can tell because you started on your left side, like we read from left to right. You started heavy on the left and worked your way across, and then you kind of got to the fountain and said, okay, I'm done. I would take some of that green that's in the tree and have it come from out of the picture plane into the painting on the far right side as part of that background, covering up part of that background. I would introduce that color again, that green, blue. You got about 2 or 3 greens in there, viridians and cad yellows or whatever. Bring some foliage coming into the picture plane. Don't make a tree. Just let kind of the foliage come in.
I understand.
And that kind of, if I squint, see all your darks are on the left side. You have an L-shaped dark. You have a dark
Yes.
vertical and then a dark coming across the fence a little. Repeat that balance of dark, Howard, in the upper right of your painting, and repeat that color. I think it'd be a stronger piece.
Okay, thank you.
Good. You're welcome. Thanks for being out there. And I was humbled with the weather. So,
Yeah. Nice
Yeah.
meeting
thank you, sir. Yeah. Cool.
Okay, now let me just see, which way am I going here? Oh, there's Deb's, right?
Got
Yep.
it, made it.
Deb.
Yay.
Hi, Deborah. Hi, and your mic's off there, but if you can hear us, thank you, Deborah, for being there, and everybody else. Let me think. You moved under the tree to paint this. You started over on one side. I think this is looking west. Can you hear me okay, Deborah?
Yeah, that's looking east. That's where the building was.
Oh, is that so you did 2 paintings then, or did you just move under a tree?
No, I did too.
Oh, you did 2. I remember you were under the tree looking the other way. This is the first view where we all were, right?
Yes. I
Okay,
think so. Yeah, it is.
yeah. Here's the good things. You're not afraid of value. I'm squinting at your painting. You've got nice little darks going underneath the lighter boughs, foliage. You got some nice darks. You bring them down to the foreground. So you're not that's gutsy because you're not afraid to paint with value. You're mimicking. This is interesting. I saw this a little earlier. You have the fountain, the base of the fountain, which is an oval shape, elliptoid shape, and you kind of echo it with the flowers on the right side. You're doing like a horseshoe shape of flowers. You're doing see where one's in the back and it kind of comes around out of the picture. It looks like kind of a semicircle thing too, which is good because then you mimic it again in the fountain head, the top of the fountain. You have a kind of circular ovoid, I should say, ovoid. I like your texture. How did you do the texture? Splattering, sponge? What'd you do for the green stuff?
Yeah, a combination, splattering. I did wiped out a little bit.
Yeah.
Toothbrush.
That always comes in, doesn't it? Yeah. What's your thoughts on, I like your figures, by the way. One more compliment. Did you mask out the white water that's spilling out of there?
Yes, I did.
Okay, cool. Okay. Couple thoughts. Speaking of that water, I would take, my next thing is related here. The blue, I'm not against the blue high rises. I'm not against that color, but what I would do, Deborah, if I remember right, you painted the water at the base of the fountain in that retention area. You painted what was there. It was very shallow. I would take the blue that's in the background, the same blue that's in the high-rise windows, and put a glaze of it over the water in the fountain below there.
Okay.
I would repeat it. I think it would be neat to repeat that color. One of the strongest what's the word? One of the strongest signs that we can tell people that something is water, one of them is the color blue, even though it might not be blue. You know, like you paint the Fox River, maybe the Chicago River, I don't know. But I tend to blue up my water to be an obvious identifier, you know, that, hey, yo, folks, this is water. So bring some of that
Right.
blue down from the sky high rises, just glaze over the water. I like the way you handle those grasses in the lower left corner. I remember those little spiky things. I like the way you handle the fence in the foreground. The problem that I put in mind was I might have made my fence too hard. It becomes a barrier, and most paintings are entered from the bottom. We enter a painting, I know we look at the middle ground and all that, but we come in from the bottom and kind of let our eyes roam around. So put some blue on the water. I would take a big round brush, whether you have a mop or a number 8 or 12, Deborah, and you still have this painting, of course, right?
Yes.
I would just take that mop and just put water on it and drag it through the high-rise windows. Let it bleed up there more. Let some of those go right through some of those whites between the windows, okay? Just drag some water through it, make it a little more fuzzier to push it back there and less geometric, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Good stuff.
And what I did, I did use a little bit of the mask on those windows.
Okay. I would actually, and I would start at the top. I can see now why they're so, mask leaves hard edges. Your thinking is good. I think I want to push them back further by blurring them. I would start right at the top with my big brush and just kind of wish it back and forth and let those things go out of focus more. The blue umbrella, is that why you're doing the blue too? You want to decide to bring the blue down?
Yeah. Just, yeah, at that, you know, carry that color through a little bit.
Good stuff. You have good value range. Your mask works okay on the fountain. Blur the windows and back. Repeat the blue in the water below the fountain. Nice going. Okay, you made the most of it.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Did you have another painting too?
Yeah, it was so, yeah, I did have another one. It was so much like that one, only just the opposite side.
The flip. The flip.
Yeah.
Okay, if you had it, I'd be happy to look at it, but that's up to Lori.
Okay.
If you even have it. So
Maybe
you did
at
well.
the end.
Yeah, why
Yeah,
not?
sure. That's fine. You can pop it up there.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I'm totally confused as to which way I'm going. I can't remember. Do we go this way? Okay, we did Howard's. Okay, I'm going the wrong way. Wait, maybe not. No, Richard's. Okay, Richard's not here, but you can critique it because we're recording this.
Yeah. Hey, Richard, when you hear this, I talked to Richard when he painted this, and I gave him a huge compliment as he was developing this paint. Deborah, see his water?
Yes.
Deborah? Yeah, see, look at, he put blue in the water that's spouting, and he put it in the fountain too. See, that's just a huge indicator. It's that simple. I mean, that's cool. So here's what he did good. I gave him a big compliment while he was painting this. I said, you have a touch here like Sargent. He has it's a sketchy little, it's a very confident look he's got in his painting. And it's a lot of, I use the word calligraphy. Look at the fence around the back, the fence in the foreground. He's kind of going, you know, like, and it works. He's told me a lot about trees without telling me trees. He didn't hit me over the head. I like his variation of the greens and the yellow greens. He's got some ochre there above the light post or whatever, raw sienna. And he's got, Pat, look at the difference of his tree trunks on the left side. He's got little wiggle in one, he's got shading on another, but they're different sizes. He's balanced the right hand in the right-hand foreground, the flowers, the calla lilies. He's threw a couple on the left. What would I do better here? He's left a lot of white spaces. What does anyone, I know he can't stand up for himself now, he's not here. Does anyone have any thoughts about the amount of white that's left in this painting? I'd like to hear. Anyone?
I'll pipe in. I like it. It's
I do
very
too.
open. It's very open. It's very fresh, and it's an air. It lends an airy feeling to the painting.
it doesn't look like a rainy day partly because of that white. And, you know, you can't go wrong as a watercolorist leaving white till the end if you're not sure, because we can always knock the white out with a wash. It's real. See, he did it on the far left. Look at the blue over there. He had a big white area over there, and he had to think to himself, well, what do I do? Well, it's not sky, but who cares? He repeats it in the upper right, and right above the top of the fountain. He's got some up there, but he had a big white area. So he just said, I'm going to put this wash in there. And then he puts it in the water, but he's got this kind of like a saber, like you're jousting with a saber, you know, with a stroke. It kind of goes choom, 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 like slashing, like Sargent did. I would tell Richard the same thing I told Howard. Flip this painting upside down. He went heavy on the left side with the bowl of the fountain. It should be symmetrical no matter where you're standing. He went a little heavier on the left side of the fountain, the basin, and just turn it upside down because you'll see it with fresh perspective and fresh eyes. Yeah, he told me, see, here's the economy of a watercolorist. Look along the railing in the foreground, everybody. Just look what he did here. Starting on our left, he got little plants over there, cal lilies. Then he goes a little blue. Then he's got some underpainting of a light warm color. Then he goes to the green. See, he's starting to say green without saying, here's all the leaves. Those are actually boxwoods. They were green, green, green. And here, but that's how he indicated them. He brought the top colors down. Look at the top colors in the painting. See, he brought those same colors down in the foreground. Then he goes to cool again. He's very conscious of temperature, repeating temperature. So, and he painted around in lights, and he just got enough there. He did things with economy, and he pulled it off well, I think. I think he'd be better. The only thing I would add here, if I was Richard, I would take a razor blade. This is dry now. And I would turn the painting 90 degrees, and I would scratch out some more water spilling over the edges with a razor blade. Scratch out some paint with the water coming over the edges or the left side or the right side. I would just create a little more white motion or drop. You know, you can pick out with a razor blade also. You could pick out highlights, splashing water. But overall, I mean, it's got this quick, impressionistic, fresh look. I like it.
Cool.
He didn't say everything. He just made it. It's the cleanest. This, and I think Maria's painting are the cleanest paintings in the whole enchilada. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, Jill.
Yeah, she's not here. She's Jill.
Yeah,
here.
Jill is here, right? Jill, you
Hi,
here?
Jill.
I am actually here.
Hi, Jill. Hey, there you are. Hi, Jill. Yeah, I remember you gallantly hung in there. Jill, what's the strengths of your painting? You tell me.
The fountain, I hope.
I caught you off guard. What do you like? What do you like? Be honest. What do you like about your painting?
I kind of like that I made it kind of bold and colorful.
It has its own look. Is that, I don't know you. Do you usually paint this way?
Actually, no, I was kind of inspired by the way you were painting. Usually I do like big washes in the areas and then, work my way to the details. But this time I just kind of started with the fountain and,
Worked out.
my way around.
Yeah.
So,
Wait,
yeah.
talk about putting blue water in the fountain. Hello, blue
I
water.
did that.
Yeah.
Yes, it was yellow green before, but there was so
Yep.
much green in it that I'm like, too much green.
Exactly right. You're painting in a realistic manner. And I think your tree is very flat, your big tree. Both of them
It's
are.
honestly, yeah, there's it's too much in the foreground. I was hoping it would be lighter, but it somehow ended up being too close.
Well, not close. It's flat. It's just a flat
Okay.
wash. And what I would do is darken the big tree on the right side of the trunk, come down where the fountain is, and use that dark as a foil to pop that fountain forward. So darken the right side of the big tree some. Okay, and bring it all the way down. Let's see what else you got going here. I like your playfulness up at the top, your colors. You're just dancing along up there like a mosaic. You got lots of little jewels, and you're not afraid of color. I love the way you wove the calla lilies. They're like a amusement ride starting in the left. You go down and back up, and then down and back up. I like that very much. do I want to kill some of the blue? Do I want to reflect anything in the blue water? Do I want to reflect the tree in the blue water? Or is that asking for trouble? That's asking for trouble. Tell me about your background, Jill. The space where there's suggestion of architecture. Tell me about that, please. Throw your microphone on. There you go.
Yeah, there actually was architecture back there. And there was a building behind it that was this really beautiful pale yellow that, you know, I really liked. And I thought maybe I should do like a blue wash over it to make it, send it to the back, but I didn't want to muddy it up. So I just kind of left it. I know it's awfully late, but.
No, I'm glad you left it. It's
Yeah.
like a non-space. I mean, it's a rest area in your whole painting because you have all these little dabs. You have dabs at the top, you have dabs at the bottom. And then you have these big flat rest area, which I think is good for this painting. One little thing I would do, besides that big tree, that's the biggest pain right now, is, and do a little on the tree on the far right. One thing I would do is, I would add a little bit of color to the whiteness of the white water. Here and there. Bring some of that blue. I did that test run. Remember my little booklet? I did a little study of the water. And man, I don't know where it is right now. But I would give a little dimension to the water by adding a little bit of color into the white foam and white spilling water. Subtly put a little color in there. Okay, I think that's all. Yeah, your fence is cool.
Great, thank you very much.
I
Oh, you're
like
welcome.
that.
Yeah, cool. I like it too. You have a very clean looking, there's a style of what you painted. That's why I said I don't know you. There's a style to this, and I don't know who it reminds me of, but it's very direct and clean. You have a very clean looking painting, which I didn't. Nice going.
Thank you.
You okay on time, Lori?
Yep, we're good.
Okay.
I'm just getting through. Here we go. This is yours. Why don't I go to Maria's and then we do yours last, Tom? There we go, Maria's.
Yeah, I just said knockout painting. Is Maria here?
Yes.
I be here.
Hey, Maria, congratulations. Was it
Thank you.
16 by 12 or what?
Yes,
Yeah, you did one of the better paintings of the whole day, oil or watercolor.
thank
that's-
you.
Well, no, don't you thank you. What was interesting, you want to comment on it? Go ahead, Maria. Go ahead.
I don't do a
Tell-
lot of water, so I think I need practice on making some of it crisper and some of it kind of fading in, and like there were sheets of water coming off the fountain and I wanted
I
to
remember.
capture that more.
I think you captured the sheets of water.
Really? I don't
You-
know.
Oh,
I felt
yes.
like the fountain got murky and messy and the edges aren't clean.
Did you paint around the water or did you mask it out?
I did not mask. What I
That's what I
did was create a halo with clean water and then brought color in from either side.
Okay, in the back, around it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Now, everybody that's in viewing land or listening land, squint at her painting. Squint, close your eyes down about 50%. See her darks? The hair of the girl, the couple, and then those dark greens, real rich dark green. You got the most out of that day. This is a really good painting. Here's the pluses. You've indicated all this nature and growth. I'm talking about the top half of the painting now, the greens. You've indicated it without painting it. You've suggested these, I'm using my darks. I want to show off the water. So I saw your photograph too, Maria. You had this bow of light green coming in right at the top. And I'm glad
Yeah.
you had the guts to put that in there. I might do this. I'm just squinting at it now. I might take a little brown brush, like a number 6 round, and go around just a couple of the leaves where they meet the green. You follow me? See the
Yeah.
ones that are jutting downward or at an
Yeah.
angle? Outline them with the same dark green. Outline a couple of the leaves
yeah,
and snap that forward a tiny bit. Don't outline all of them, just a couple.
yeah. I was
So-
scared to get carried away, so I did nothing.
Do a little. But it could be a metaphor for everything, you know. So, so just outline a couple leaves.
Okay,
And I think your water's great. And I was telling, who was it, Jill? Jill, see, she has some blue introduced in there in the water. If you look carefully, there's a couple of grays or blues, whatever. I think your water's fine. You got plenty of water. And I was questioning when you were painting this, you putting the tree, I hope I'm looking at it the right way here, Maria. You
Yeah,
put that tree on the far left and it's cropped, right? Am I
Yeah.
seeing it right on my monitor?
yes.
And I was wondering about that. I'm going to cover it up right now with my hand.
I don't
Your
think I
painting-
need it.
Your painting would work either way. What you did, okay, you don't think you need it.
No, I just cut
Why?
it off.
Why?
It doesn't add anything.
I think you got away with it. Let me put it that way. Normally, I would never tell somebody to put a tree. You either put it in the viewing plane or you keep it out.
Yeah,
You know, you see the tree or you don't.
there's
But I
not
think
enough of it.
you made it so thin, I can live with it, okay?
Yeah,
I like the economy of the little simple strokes on the ground that indicate concrete pavement. That is so neat. I like your fence.
thank
but-
you.
You're welcome. Hey, now I'm getting to the good stuff. I looked at your photograph too. Somewhere you had it posted or whatever.
Yeah,
And I thought, these people only have 2 legs between two people. Where's the 4 legs? And I know this is, what you painted is correct. They only have 2 feet on the ground.
the
Yeah.
legs are crossed.
Yeah, I know it. Well, it's the way they were seated. By economy, do you like to do figures?
I used to.
Well, no, I sense that you do. And the reason I'm saying that with economy, a simple gesture, him with his arm on the bench around her, she's leaning into him.
Yeah,
and
I
turning
wanted to
him
capture
slightly.
that. I wanted to capture the
go.
weight.
You got it exactly. You got it exactly. And everybody squint. Look where the darks are. The top, and now look where she is. She's almost lined up, her head and hat with the bottom of the fountain. She pulls that top of that yellow and red conga line of calla lilies. The darks end right at the top, and now you jump over that line with her darks in her head and hair, and partly his shadow. Where you're weak is his flesh tone.
I
Let me see
know.
if let me see. Hey, you see, yeah, I'm enlarging it. You wimped out on it, and
Yes.
what I'd like you to do. No, it looks that way. You don't have to indicate deeply his features, but he's in profile. So what I'd like you to do, Maria, sometime put your hand on a piece of white paper and mix the color on a scrap piece of paper of your flesh.
Okay,
You know, it's going to be made up of some yellow and some red and a tiny
Yeah.
bit of blue. I'll tell you right now. Mix up your flesh color. If you turn your hand face down, that's called pronation. You're going to see the back of your hand. You turn it up, or that's supination, and pronation is upward. If you put your palm up right now, if you do it, you're going to have more blood, more warmth in the palm of your hand than you will in the back of your hand.
yeah,
My point is, mix your flesh color and just take a brush and don't paint features, but go right through. His face needs warming up. It needs
Okay.
more red. It needs more cad red in it.
okay,
And at the very, very minimum, I do a lot of figures, Maria, in watercolor. I do portraits and figures. I do a lot. I love them. And Emily and I connected on that part. At the very least, suggest the eye socket of that gentleman.
okay.
Don't make an eye, don't make eyelashes,
No,
just suggest eye, okay? And then
Yeah.
you can always get away with warmth in the cheeks. You can always warm a person's cheeks up,
okay.
but he looks a little too pale and not convincing. We can't see her. So you have a strong painting here. Now, one question. Okay, I'm good. Anyone have a comment, please? Anyone?
I
You
love
should
it.
be proud. Yeah,
Thank you.
I love it. It's beautiful, warm and cool. The composition feels very balanced,
Thank you.
feels airy. The fountain is so convincing to me.
I agree, Pat. I agree.
Oh, lovely.
Thank you.
In the
Thank you.
August show, put it in the August show.
Maria, one other question. If I remember right, it just occurred to me. There's a dog in that picture of your photograph, right?
Not when the couple was there. They
Oh, I
kept
saw-
changing.
Yeah, okay. I'm not asking for a dog. you know, what's interesting here,
I like that big negative space.
Yeah, what's interesting, I agree, is all your weight is on your left side. Draw a vertical line that right down the middle of your picture, a vertical line. All the interest and weight is on the left side. And yet somehow to me, it's still in balance. I'm not sure. I think it's because of she being dark like that. I'm not sure why, because
Well, to me, it's balanced because you're resting when you see that negative space.
I got you.
It's
Okay,
the
fair enough.
opposite.
Yeah,
For
and
me, I'm seeing the grasses go up and I'm seeing the lime tree twig go down in that right side. So the dark pulls me in, but then I see this movement. So that pulls me to the right too. So I don't see an imbalance at all.
cool.
You see what I mean? The grasses are going up and then you go to the top.
Yes,
and
yes, they lead
the
you up.
dark line and the lime is coming down. So your eye fills that in and it doesn't look labored. It's just, wow.
Good comment. It doesn't look labored. There's nothing here in your painting, Maria, that indicates a rainy day in Chicago or a drizzling day in Chicago. It's a very vibrant, fresh watercolor.
Thank you.
Nice job. And it's not a little dinko. It's a decent sized painting. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Maria
Sure.
always makes it look easy. She makes it look easy.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, come back and look at it when I put his face on.
But I said, I don't know if everybody knows me saying it, but there's going to be a Plein Air Painters Works on Paper show in August, late August, and put this one in, Maria.
I was gonna sell it. Okay.
There you go.
It could sell there. It's going to be at a gallery.
Okay.
Okay, let me find Tom's.
Oh,
I
thank you.
think Tom's is there. It is. Okay.
Did we get everybody else?
Yes, I believe
I'll
we
make
did.
sure,
I will
guys.
double check. I will
I don't
double
want
check.
anyone to feel, is anyone left out that can hear us? Is anyone left out? Okay.
Oh, Deb, did you post? She posted another one. Okay, wait. Let me go. Deb Page
Let's do
Jackson
it.
has posted her
Let's do
second
it.
one.
Good.
Thing through here. There. Nope. Shoot, where'd it go? Hang on, folks.
No problem.
Let me do it this way. Well, oh, I know, maybe, no. Oh,
I'm looking.
okay, there's.
It'll be a horizontal watercolor.
I think it wasn't in the critique page. It was in the regular plein air page.
Oh, is it that? Okay, I can jump over to there, I think. Maybe she can. Deb, can you put it on the critique page?
Let me unmute. Yeah, I thought that's where I just put it, but let me check.
Maybe I just need to refresh, or
I see one.
let's see. If I lose you guys, oh no, I won't lose you. I'll just do
Yeah, that's it. It's on the
it. It
critique
should be on
page.
there, right? Maybe just this needs to be refreshed. And it is. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just needed to be refreshed. There we
Go
go.
back.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, this is cool. Without asking to see them together. Deborah, what is your thought, Deborah? Number 1 versus this one, number 2. What are your thoughts? Do you like one better?
I'm not, I mean, I like this one, but I see where I could have done some things differently, but I think I like this one better.
What would you have done differently in this one? Or
Kind
the
of,
other?
on the tree, I think it's a little too something, too muddy or something, but otherwise, yeah, I think I like this one because I like the balance of it.
You placed the balance is excellent. What you did, you used mask on the water, didn't you? On the fountain?
Yes, actually,
nope.
afterwards, you know,
Oh.
I started painting it and then I masked it later at home because I didn't mask it outside.
Okay, no problem. You have a nice sturdiness to the base of the fountain. There's a real believable architectural, nice feeling, nicely drawn. What you did, the major thing here is you made this as almost like a country scene, a fountain in a little square, because you put that tree, and I looked, excuse me, I think I looked at it when in person, or I can't remember when, or you had a photograph maybe with this, but there was a
Right.
tree like that. I see sky. See, that opens everything up for me now. And you're using that to your advantage of creating depth by putting that tree in the upper right corner. I like the other trees all the way, they're kind of sprinkled in and out of your painting. You have a distinct way of doing your foliage, which you did in the other first one, the greens and the dark greens. I like the marriage of the on the left side of the light post with the baskets with the fountain. I like where they touch and kind of become one. And you weren't tight architectural with the fence. I personally would get rid of what I talked about in the background of your other painting with the windows at the top. I would get rid of some of the railing, the fence. I would get rid of some of the verticals. It's here and there. I would just take a brush, not get rid
Okay.
of, I mean, fuzz them. I need a little more
Yeah.
variety. Just take
Yeah.
water and just go through a couple of them where they'll be there, but they won't be there as exact. Okay.
Right.
It's too, we can, what's the word I want? We don't need all of them like that. Let's see what else. You kept the foreground real simple below you lift it out below the fence, or you lifted some of that out, and then you left it real simple in the foreground, which I like that you did that. You brought the greens down. Anything else, Deborah, you see you'd like to comment on?
I have a problem with leaving white.
Yeah.
I don't, I just paint everything.
Well, I think you're not alone. One thing over the years I've discovered is I say that as a watercolorist, white is the life and energy of your painting in a watercolor. It's the highest degree of value you can get. It's the lightest value you can get, the white paper. And I do my best to hold on to my whites, Deborah, till the end. I know which ones. We know the water's going to be white here. You've left some lighter areas here. Like, think about Richard's painting, the whites that he left. We can always put a wash over if there's too many conflicting whites. So the problem you get into, if I leave white everywhere, it gets conflicting then. You have a nice, your placement is right of the fountain. The whites are right in the right place. I think you got a good balance here. I'm not, the white fountain, I remember sitting there Saturday, was the brightest thing in the whole painting by far. So how do you get around it? Maybe, sometimes you might even write before you start painting, draw your scene before you start painting, make it with a pencil, write on the paper, like save or leave or white or something, just as a reminder. So you won't be tempted, plan it ahead of time that I'm going to have more out of a dominant white, a light area or white area, but make a little note on the paper saying save, or, just knowing you can always come back and knock it down. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good painting. You got some good stuff here. No problem at all. I wish your reds were more vibrant. And
now how could I, and what red should I have used to get it?
Okay. What are you
brighter?
using? And I have a suggestion for you. What are you using for reds? You remember?
I use some alizarin, and I use the cadmium red.
This is for Deborah. This is for everybody. All my watercolorists out there. The brightest red you can get. I don't have a tube of it in front of me. The brightest red. There's a brand of paint called Sennelier, French name, Sennelier, Sennelier. They make oil paint. They make watercolor. They've been making it. The Impressionists used it. The Impressionists use the oil paints. Buy a tube of Sennelier. The name of it is Sennelier red. It is the most fire engine red you're ever going to see. And, we're going to have some fall colors coming up later. But if you ever want to paint something like in your scene here, red, tube of the Sennelier red. That's the name of the color, Sennelier red, and it'll knock you over. Okay.
All right. Great.
Bring some.
Thing
I would
like
also.
about it- Sorry.
What's that, Pat? What?
I was just gonna say, one of the things I like about this piece is that she has such deep space. You know, it's like you're really looking across that park.
Good point.
That tree with the heavy blues and greens.
Yeah.
It's
All
like
always underneath
really
there.
looking into that deep space. It's just so cool.
One other
Thank
thing,
you.
thanks, Pat. Deborah, one other thing. Jump below the horizontal top of the fence, the one with all the circles. Jump below it with some of your reds and introduce a
Okay.
couple in the negative spaces between some of those bars. Okay.
Yeah.
Put some,
Yeah.
see, you have a dividing line, a horizontal dividing line. So jump
Right.
across that line with the, so you have your little darks by the green, the dark green by the reds, indicate a little of that below that top rail, that fence. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Good,
Great.
good work. Your fence, your fountain sparkles. It sparkles. I'm looking at it. It's good.
Oh,
Okay.
get rid of that ugly thing. I was looking-
Trying to
What
go
did you
back to
say?
I'm
Tom.
looking at
here.
my painting.
Did I miss yours, Tom? Did I go past it?
No.
Wait, maybe I did.
Earlier you had it. No, I don't.
There it is. That's
There
your
it is.
Okay.
You want me to comment on it?
Yeah, but
Okay. Pretend you're not listening now. Okay.
yeah.
Excuse me. I've got a beautiful sunset out here. Was it raining in Chicago? We have a nice sunset going right here in Woodstock. All right. Here's the good and here's the bad. This painting is overworked and it's a little heavy-handed for a transparent watercolor. I overworked it because I had to overwork it. I didn't know, this is not a cop-out. I lost an awful lot in Chicago with the rain. I stayed out too long, put it simply. So here's the negatives. I took some of your suggestions. Deborah, see my windows back there in my building? You could barely see them. You know, I'm just suggesting some little bright windows in the architecture way back there. I took
Yes.
your suggestion and tried to lighten my vertical. I wanted to keep that, maybe it's still too strong, the vertical warm column in the right side, upper right. I scratched out with a razor blade some of the whites that I had lost in the rain for my fountain. And what else is anything good? I reversed the value of my light post. Instead of making it black, I made it light against some dark negatives. What I didn't do, and I just did it without thinking, I don't like it. If you look at the top left of my painting, I have a fork in my trees. Both of them have a Y. See the Y? Each one mimics the other one. See it? There's
Oh,
a Y in the branches. Yeah. I just did it unconsciously. So I'll change that. I just think it's a little too gimmicky. Not gimmicky. I just did it without thinking. I like my reds. Deborah, there's some good orangey reds. I used Cad Red, maybe M. Graham Cad Red Light. And I used I might have had a little alizarin in there, but I don't think I used my Sennelier Red. I don't think so. One thing I did, I like my fence because it's just enough and it doesn't detract. One thing I did when I put this painting up in my studio here at home, and it's really subtle. I put it up about 10, 15 feet away and I got back and looked at it. Way at the bottom, this is very subtle. Just look at the post and then let's see that little dark by the post in the lower right corner. That dark goes, I made a little bit of an arcing line towards the base of the fountain. Do you see it? It's a real subtle little dark. Way at the base next to the dark post. You see the post, Lori? Can you?
Yeah. Are you asking me to?
Yeah, I'm doing it with my finger, but that's not helping anything.
Oh, I see.
not
I'm
sure
sorry. I
what's
had
supposed
something
to-
across it. You mean
From-
here?
Yeah, from there, now go towards the post. It's a little bit of art. Now go right down to the base of the post. And now see that dark? That dark right next in the negative space, in the greens. Now look, there's a little bit of a line going to the base of the fountain. See it? It's a little curvy type, archy little line. It's very subtle. And there's a
Right
dark,
here, this one.
There, right there. I put that up in the studio and I noticed that. And I thought, that's cool, because I made a shape out of what's below the fountain now. There's this other lighter shape. I created a movement line. I think it's nobody sees it, but for me, it was like, wow, I did something. What's good? I left white space in the little pieces of white without showing the buildings across the street. I just left some white back in there. Yeah, I restrained the fence. That's good because the story. Remember Richard? What's his name? Lawrence. What's the man that spoke? Richard
Yeah, Rick Laurent,
Laurent.
Rick
Remember he
Laurent,
said. Rick said, "What is the reason? What is the purpose of the paint? No, what's the intention? What is the
Intent.
intention of your painting?" My intention was to show a bubbly fountain in the city of Chicago. I have that. Again, the negative is it's overpaint. It's heavy-handed. It's not fluid. I like my greens. I like the yellow. I like the liveliness of the yellow, greens, and the reds. The yellows are brought up at the way at the top and repeated. That's all. Thanks.
I have a question. Did you, on the fence, on the highlights that are going vertically, did you leave the white for that, or did you use a razor blade to create
I
the?
left the whites, Barbara. I just negative painted.
Okay. Okay, all right.
See, I play light against dark and dark against light. See the light ones by
Very
the
cool.
post, they're negative. Now look further to your left. I play darker against lighter. See, as you go,
I
I
see.
play light against dark and dark against light
All right.
How
without
did you get that
stuffing it out.
squiggly stuff in the fountain? The
What's this?
pouring over the fountain,
Too much?
the base, that when the water comes down and pours over down to the column, right
Yeah.
underneath that ellipse for the fountain, I see all these squiggly lines, and it's like,
Too
no,
much.
I like it. I'm like, how did he do that?
I think there's too much. Thanks, Pat. There's squiggly lines from the fountain.
It looks like
It's called spaghetti.
but it looks like it's moving, like you're looking at it and it's moving.
As watercolors, Pat, I use Misket from a bottle, and an applicator.
Okay.
That's how I put it. I put that on white paper. I use those little squiggies with the tip. I just made those little squigglies on white paper. I had way too many of them. The reality is they're about 2/3 less than what I have. I increased the height of my fountain immediately when I did this. That I increased it by 1/3 because I wanted to create more drama. And so I raised the height. And see, now my light post becomes a secondary player. See, that's a secondary player. Look where I place my verticals, starting from the left. Tree, fountain, little tree, light post, something in the background there, and then this post in the lower right. So the lower post in the right balances the fountain on the left. And at home, one last comment, because I'm babbling, one last comment. If you look at the lip of the fountain in the center, I darkened it right at the top. And to come forward, and I restrained the edges as I went back around the fountain. I didn't make them as dark because that part of the fountain base is closer to me than any other part. I want that to project. Okay.
Yeah, maybe that's why it
Yeah.
just looks like the water is flowing over because of that.
It helps. It does help. It does help. Yeah, but it's all that applicator, Pat, that you can get that really fine line stuff. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you can use. I mean, you use it in oil. It's a latex product. I don't know how. I don't know if oils people use it have ever used it. Thanks, Lori. That's all I have right here. Unless you have somebody else's work.
Nope, I think that's it. It was a great critique, Tom. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure. You're welcome. Hey, it's a pleasure. Seriously, I love looking at art. I love being with artists. I love looking at other artists' work. We're all in this together. So I learned from seriously, this is not a coy little statement. I learned from everything I see tonight. I look at your paintings. What can I take away? What can I learn? What can I learn? So thanks for sharing your work, everybody.
Thank
We
you.
had a great
Thank you.
time Saturday night. I wanted to
evening, all.
dance Saturday. We should have had a dance going Saturday night.
I was
Right?
so tired, you would have had to
Hey,
carry me around.
Yeah. But
Put that
you
in
guys
the
are worn
schedule
out. You got to be worn out, right? I'm sure. All right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
And the
Bye.
recording will be available on our YouTube page.
Great.
Okay,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Tom. Talk
Thanks,
soon.
Lori.
Thanks.
Okay,
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
everybody.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. We're good.
Bye.
How do I stop the recording? Let me find this. Good, Barbara. Let's see. Oh, stop recording. Okay. You want to stop the